Hola amigos, how are you? This is a special video because I will be answering your questions. I have published around 3 videos that I explain my experience with creative visualizations. I use 2 methods. One is the Jose Silva method I learned in Mind Valley, and then the other is by Joe Dispenza, and it's a mind movie. They're pretty similar, but the point here is that I was reading your comments and your questions. I've noticed some of them have some similarities and I gathered them. So I want to read some of them and I want to answer them. If your question is still not answered, you can leave it on the comments and then I will answer in another video. Okay, so it's super important to me to read you because then I know what you want to learn more, what you need. So this is the first one, and it says, "What can I do when my mind is full of thoughts? I can't even visualize without getting lost myself in thoughts." This is not the only comment about having a cluttered mind. There were more. And this relates to actually being anxious or having a lot of thoughts. And this is really common. Like, I think almost all of us have a lot of to do lists, a lot of tasks, a lot of things to do on a daily basis. And sitting and closing our eyes and starting to visualize might be the perfect space for our mind to start wandering even more, right? So, first thing I would recommend in this case is to not jumping from having a cluttered mind to visualizing. That's kind of going from 0 to 100. What I would recommend is to having a space of meditation and mindfulness. So before visualizing, you might want to give yourself some days or some weeks to tap into a mindfulness practice. Maybe you want to create a space and a meditation practice just to let your thoughts come and go. They will never stop. I mean, that's a myth. So you can just create a space for thinking about them and like letting them go. And as you practice more mindfulness, then you might reduce those thoughts and then you are ready to visualize. So you create more space into your day or into your life to have less thoughts. So then you can actually visualize into the future. That's one approach. If you are thinking like, okay, meditation is not for me, Ali, no, then the other option, and this is something that I also practice, is that you need to find a moment of your day that you are done with the things. Meaning that some people tell you to visualize in the morning. I actually recommend to visualize before going to bed. When you feel like all the to do list is done for the day. So you are less likely to feel like you are drowned in thoughts. For example, let's say that day you are done with work, you are done with the house duty or the tasks of the house. Maybe your if you are a mother or a father, maybe your kids are sleeping already. It's when you can actually sit down or lay down on your bed and actually start visualizing that future version of you, right? In 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be super long. So try to find a space and a moment of your day that you are done with the tasks, even if it's just for that day. What happens to me in the mornings, for example, is that when I wake up, I want to get things done. So I have this energy, I have the rush of energy, of creativity in the mornings, and I'm super productive. So I really want to wake up and get started with my day, prepare my coffee. I start to work. And for example, now I'm filming it in the morning. So I get things done in the morning. And if I would sit down and just close my eyes to start visualizing, I would feel like I'm missing out in other things that I should be doing. But that's only me. I know some people like to visualize in the morning, but I personally prefer to do it once I'm done with all the tasks of the day. And then I can just sit and relax. And then the third recommendation I would give is to write down the things, to have a journal, to have a space where you write down all these thoughts you're having and just write it down. Like, it can be like a checklist, it can be like just random thoughts. So you kind of feel like you get them out of your system. they are somewhere, they are written. When you give them a word or a sentence, it's easier for your minds to start organizing that, like, okay, maybe this is my to-do list. Then you put it down, you write it down. And then at the moment that you're visualizing, if the thought comes, you can let it go. But you know that it's written down. If it's, especially if it's a task you have to do at some point, you are like, okay, yeah, that's taken care. That's taken care. Like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Now, this is my moment for visualization. So these are the three tips: would be mindfulness meditation, to get things done of that day and visualize only after you are done. And then the other is to journal. Let me read the other one. The other says, um, what can I do if I tend to focus on the future and that causes me anxiety? Okay. This is something I also struggle with. Some of us tend to go to the future, most of us, to go to the future. And when you visualize, it's always in the future, right? Like you are always seeing an upgraded version of yourself in 6 or 12 months, more or less. That's kind of the time frame I recommend. However, sometimes we tend to feel that it feels so far, and that we are like so far from what we want to achieve. And then you start to feel anxious that you don't have it. You don't have it in your present. It's like, oh, yeah, it's nice in my visualization, but it's causing you more anxiety than what it is helping you. So in this case, what I would recommend is to shorten or to make a smaller the gap between the future and the present. Okay, so maybe in your visualization, you won't go that far, meaning that if today you are not in a good shape, and then in your visualization, you are thinking about running a marathon, maybe you're going too far and that will cause you more anxiety, because then you are like, yeah, but today I cannot even run properly, or I cannot even walk without being like tired. So then it will just trigger more anxiety in you, feeling like, yeah, it's so far, I'm not there yet, blah blah blah. So instead of that, visualize yourself probably walking faster, or running a 5K, running 10K. That is more doable in a time frame of 3 or 6 months. So try to shorten or to make smaller this buffer between your present and what you want to visualize. And I include myself on that one. In my YouTube journey, it was the same. Like, I would visualize, like, I want my plate of YouTube and blah blah. For that, you need 100,000 subscribers. Imagine that from when I was starting, how much anxiety it was to visualize that I need to get the plate. There are things we cannot control. It's a learning process. There are so many videos you create, and you are kind of also missing the point of all the learnings you get along the journey, especially for me on YouTube, right? So try to be more gentle with yourself and a little bit more realistic also with the visualization. Maybe you want to make it in 6 months. So probably my visualization was, instead of focusing on the YouTube plate, it was rather to focus on receiving these beautiful comments that you leave on my videos. It was more like connecting with clients. It was more like connecting with other entrepreneurs online, being invited to other meetups. So these more beautiful metrics, let's say, and visions, than just something that feels so far and that will trigger more anxiety in you. Then the other says, how can I know if I am visualizing properly? This is really good. How can you know? Um, the short answer is that you will feel it. You will feel that you are excited. That vision is exciting for you. Is calming, but at the same time, it's exciting, and you feel like bliss in your body. You feel this little tingling sensation of excitement that you want to be there, and that actually you're feeling that it's happening already. When you have this, even for a microsecond, you're visualizing properly. And together with this one, what I want to also mention is that sometimes I have some clients, because I guide personalized visualization on a one-on-one level. sometimes I have some clients who struggle to visualize, who are naturally probably not the creative type of person, or that's the label they put on themselves. Maybe they are more on the logical or on the analytical side. So if you are one of them, that you struggle to visualize in a way, like literally to see a movie of your mind, of your life in 6 or 12 months, and you cannot see anything, maybe you can feel it but you don't see that much, probably you need the help of mental imagery. That's even used by psychologists. Mental imagery is all these pictures and videos that help you to shape a vision. And for this, I recommend to go into Google, YouTube, and Pinterest and type in with the keywords that you want to see happening, right? So, for example, if you want to visualize yourself living in a beautiful home, then you can type in like some keywords of the style that you would like. For example, I personally like boho plants, so that's what I type on Pinterest. And then when I see all these beautiful houses, it's when I gather the images, and then all these I make like a collage, or you can just add it on a folder and then just see them. So then you record them in your mind, and that's your mental imagery. So whenever you close your eyes and start to visualize, you have some imagery that you can grab on if you don't have this, let's say, ability to imagine by yourself. And what is also really important, I also got another question that I remember. I'm not going to read it. It was something like, for people who struggle to imagine and to visualize, on top of looking on Pinterest or YouTube, um, it's also very important that you find the images that are aligned with yourself from the present. What do I mean by this? Um, if we are grabbing images from a magazine of someone who looks completely different than us, who is maybe in a complete different context, not gonna be very likely that we visualize properly, because we're grabbing imagery from someone that we don't identify with, that we don't resonate with them. Maybe the achievement is similar, but if we don't resonate with them and we don't feel represented, it's not going to work for us. I'm going to give you my example. Um, when I got started in business, I started following some people on Instagram because I wanted some inspiration of other women doing business. And then I started to follow other people. But for my surprise, what I was following and the most common people were ladies, but some of them were based on the States, and then they looked completely different. Maybe they were super blonde. And I don't want to cause any separation here or discrimination, but what I meant is, in my visualizations, it's going to be way easier for me if I find people and references who look a little bit like me. So I started to look for Latinas in business around my age, right? So that's a really big tip for you. If you are in your 50s and you want to run a marathon, try to look for people who are on your age and who made it happen. Because if you are just focusing and grabbing the mental imagery from this 30 something running a marathon, it's cool, the imagery, but probably your brain won't believe that it's actually possible for you too. So you need to grab evidence for your brain and all this imagery of people who are close to you. Okay, so that's a tip I wanted to give you. Just another quick example to make this point. When I was also visualizing, I was also using some imagery I got again from internet, and I got like one of the first videos I was watching, which was ladies doing public speaking events, like hosting public speaking events. But these kind of ladies were wearing heels and wearing like super formal clothes. And then I was trying to input that into my mind movie, into visualizing and imagining it, and it just didn't feel any excitement in myself. And it didn't feel excitement because I don't like that style. I don't like wearing high heels, and I don't like wearing these like the suits for women. It's simply not my style. So I changed that for like, I started to change my mind movie into something that is like, yeah, public speaking, because I want that in my life. But also like I was seeing myself as someone more sporty or like on sneakers and like doing this presentation, but on sneakers. So I started to grab more. It was not so easy because it's very niche, but I was looking for this mental imagery that was more related to me, right? So that's another tip. You're visualizing properly when it causes excitement in you and not when it triggers anxiety or like, oh no, that's not for me, no, that's not going to happen. So in that case, your mental imagery probably needs to be adjusted. Again, if you need help with this one, you can book a session with me and then we can find these specific videos and images together, because we need to be really intentional with these ones and not just grabbing something from a magazine and that's it. So, and then the last question or thought that I wanted to share with you guys. Oh yeah, it was about feeling anxiety because you come back from your visualization and then it still feels far. So I already mentioned about closing this buffer of present and future, but what's also missing to mention is to create a plan. So you can visualize all what you want, but you need action and you need like a roadmap to bring this vision into your present and to materialize that. So for that one, you will need some coaching or self coaching to break down into smaller actions, weekly or daily actions that will take you closer to your vision. That's really, really important. So if you have someone who can help you, if you need my help, you can also send me a message. But it's so important not to just leave it floating there, the vision, but you need to break it down. And if you're unsure about what are the baby steps, you might need some help. So that's also something to consider. And yeah, I hope that this was useful. Let me know if you have any other questions. I will leave the link to work with me, to visualize together, have a guided visualization with me, customized. So not something that is recorded and you just watch on internet. It's a live visualization customized for you. And I customize it by having a coaching session with you first to understand what are your blockers and what are your desires. That's the most important for me. What are your desires? What you want to envision and to bring into this 3D world. And from there, using your own vision, your own words, your own imagery, I can start guiding it to you. So that is a little bit the session with me. That's how you can imagine it. It's around 60 to 90 minutes, and then I will record the piece or the part of the visualization, and you will have it with you, the audio, so you can keep practicing in your house. And it's really important that all the words and every guidance is focused on your own journey. So it's not a generic visualization that you just grab it from internet. It's something that is just created for you. Okay. So let me know. I hope that this is useful, inspiring. Let me know if you have other questions. I will be listening and reading you to create more videos. So thank you for being here, for your presence and your time. Beso.